Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. Gonna jump into some bite down boxing. I'm really not on here to chop it up too much. It's just they're still having a little bit of adrenaline, from a good fight night. Pretty great fight Saturday if you factor in the Terry Harper and Katie Taylor performances on the zone from SSE Wembley. They came on at 2 o'clock. So and then to get to the evening, the main event with Crawford and Brook. Speaking of the UK and England, London, Sheffield, all of that. I dove into this the Gangs of London series that's on AMC Plus is how you have to watch it, which is a subscription. I want to say it's $7 or something. I'm gonna come back and do a live stream on that or a recap of that. I'm almost through with the first season or what's available from the first season, but it's pretty dope, man. It's a really diverse cast, an international feel to it. You have some Albanians, some Indians, some Africans, the whole nine. And the interesting thing about it, really quickly, and get on to my topic, but it's really deep. I mean, it's really a deeply woven tale that's going on. That's obviously with the gangs of London. It's pretty deep. But the only thing I'll say is the action sequences and the gunfights and the shootouts are way above what I'm used to as an American, fan of television and whatnot. So that's interesting. Anyway, getting on to last night, the next day, and check out my content over at www.bitedownboxing. I'm tripping. I'm really tripping. www.bitedownboxing.com. Several write-ups over there of yesterday's fights. A couple different fights that I wrote up. So check that out. But what I wanted to say with Terence Crawford, an exhilarating win, a pretty solid performance with an excellent finish. It was somewhat like the fight was somewhat akin to what we saw with the Lakers and the Portland Trailblazers going back to the NBA season and the playoffs. After game one, you thought it kind of looked like Portland's guard game was a bad style matchup for the Lakers. And especially when the Lakers others didn't show up with Caruso, KCP, Morris, and all of them boys, it kind of gave you a reason. You saw Charles Barkley come out and say he was if Portland won game two, he was taking Portland for the sweep or something. You see, that was short-lived. Thing was, in game two, the others for the Lakers did show up, and then I believe Dwight Howard had a big game and totally changed the complexion of the series all around. And then the big two for the Lakers got on the same page, and it was a wrap. And that's kind of what was going on here last night. Checking out, the way that the way the fight unfolded. It looked like a bad style matchup for Bud early on, as the way that Brook was doing well with his timing and doing well with his jab. I was kind of shocked, and I'm guessing that I would attribute it to the nearly being out of the ring for a year. I thought Bud had gotten to a place where he was working from his southpaw stance a lot, and especially early versus other orthodox fighters. And so it was kind of it kind of threw me off a little bit to see him stick with fighting or orthodox for so long. And as soon as he made that switch, it really neutralized everything that Brook was trying to do. And it was kind of weird that Brook completely went away from his jab and started trying to fight, with some lead rights. And then, Bud is just too good of a fighter for you to try to attack him leading with your power punches, leading with power shots, and not working your way in without a jab. I don't think anybody's timing is going to consistently be that great where you're just gonna be able to blow. You're not gonna get to Bud and start going to his body or landing combinations without setting this up with some type of jab. So that threw me for a loop. But when Terence switched to the southpaw stance, it's not like his jab was really his right jab. It's not like it looked really polished, like his feet were set properly or he had the right distance on it. But he just kept shoving it in in Brook's face. And then he started it just totally disrupted everything that Brook was trying to do or wanted to do. And then, setting it up for the, when he ran into the real trouble, literally ran into it. That's a hell of a situation when a punch only has to travel. It was more than 6 to 8 inches. I know Joe Frazier, said a perfect hook only needs to travel 6 to 8 inches. But with that lead hand being up there in the front and just dropping it down in the middle of, flush in the middle of Brook's face, it was almost like that punch that Pavlik landed on Jermaine Taylor. Where the glove just ate up the whole middle of his face. And Brook was hurt. He was bad. He was hurt bad. He didn't see it. He ran into it. And, obviously Bud is not the type of guy for you to be badly impaired for too long. He's going to get to you. And so we get the knockout. I mean, we get the, he takes the few steps off to the right. His legs were really bad. You could see he was hurt badly. He almost goes through the ropes. I was kind of shocked to see Weeks step in, and start his count. I thought he was going to call the fight for a minute because as defenseless as Brook was, but, he gets into his 10 count and then he checks him out afterwards. Brook is in pretty bad shape. If it wasn't a championship fight, I'm imagining that it would have been stopped right there. But, the fight resumes and, Bud moves in and just remains composed as he goes through his finishing sequence to get him out of there. Some chopping shots, that overhand right that really hurt Brook, and that was all she wrote. So I just thought it was a good performance, man. Like I said, I got a couple text messages. My pops sent me something talking about the punch and the finish and whatnot. So I think it was a good moment. We don't know anything yet about the TV numbers. I know some people were upset about the the delayed start from the football game. College football games are long as hell anyway. And they don't move as quickly as NFL games. So that's a bad thing when you're fighting on Saturdays up against college football. Plus it was a blowout, but they don't go away from the game. Then we also get the controversial ending to the Maloney and Franco fight. So fans were kind of antsy. And then once we do get into the fight, I mentioned this before the start of it, ESPN still went through its whole introduction for the main event with all the Mark Kriegel stuff that we've heard 6 times. We've watched and heard 6 times at that point. They still went and did all of that. And then, Brook gets off to this unexpected start. And, it had people a little antsy, I guess. But, Bud came through, did his thing. Good win. It's funny how quickly, Tim Bradley was very emphatic about Brook coming to win. Andre Ward was very complimentary about the shape that Brook was in and basically saying the same thing, that Brook was there to win, and reiterating how much of Brook's, like, his prominence in UK boxing and especially UK welterweights. They went to great lengths, to talk him up, and then he comes in and he lives up to it initially. And Bud makes his adjustments, and then Brook had his major miscalculation, and that was it. So again, man, I really wasn't coming on to do a lengthy live and whatnot. I just, I don't have no partners to talk to. My phone didn't ring. I ain't calling nobody, so I just jumped on, thinking through the fight a day later, and it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what Bud's next move is. I made some comments on the video last night that that's some interesting timing for the letter that they mentioned on the telecast. I think Kriegel might have talked about it, but that Bud had his legal team send a letter of some kind, a copy of that letter to the Athletic, but the letter was sent to the Top Rank, and Team Bud is like discouraged or disappointed or unhappy. They're displeased with the fact that no meaningful fights have been able to come to fruition by Top Rank. And then at the end of the night, we have Bud standing right next to Bob Arum, and Bob Arum gets on his campaigning for the bigger fights. But the timing of that was just crazy. And there's not a favorable next move for Bud. I mean, unless they could put, revisit the fight with Pacquiao. But I think Pacquiao and Mikey Garcia are probably on a collision course once they figure out how to put that together. So I don't know what Bud's next move is. So it seems like this letter that was shared with the Athletic, it seems like those grievances would still need to be addressed somehow. That none of the PBC guys are likely to, no fight is likely to be made with any of them. So the whole situation with possibly facing the winner of Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor, that's a lot of stuff needs to take place for that to be a possibility. So it's very interesting, how they move forward as on the same page as promoter and fighter. I don't have much more to offer on that. It'll be interesting to watch and see kind of what comes out over the next few months. I think it was excellent that Bud did get in a fight for 2020. It looked at one point in time like that wasn't going to happen. And I think it was a successful fight. I guess, Monday or Tuesday or whatever, we'll start seeing something on the ratings and, the TV viewership. That's another important piece of the puzzle as they try to, determine which direction to go next. And we'll see what happens. But like I said, he took care of business. I thought it was a pretty great conclusion to a pretty solid fight. And we'll see what's next. That's it, man. I ain't going to hold you up. Let me get on out of here. We'll go check out the rest of this Steelers and Bengals game. The Washington football team stunk it up again. I ain't even bothered checking in with that mess. But anyway, man, bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment, also known as So You Say, also known as Because You Said So. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. One.